Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today, July 13th, an important day in the history of ISKCON and life of Srila Prabhupada. Today was the day in 1966 Srila Prabhupada incorporated ISKCON as a non-profit religious organization in New York City. It's very significant. Srila Prabhupada, after nearly 71 years of his life, he had gone to America without any support from his or wealth or money. And under those circumstances, Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON today. So we will read from the Bhagavatam, coincidentally, a verse which also points out what Srila Prabhupada accomplished on this day and how and what led to that incorporation of the institution. We'll try to touch upon all of that. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, the verse is displayed. Okay, sorry. Canto 1, chapter 19, text number 30. Sasamvritastatra mahan mahiyasham Brahmarshi Rajarshi Devarshi Sangaihi Pyarocatalam Bhagavan Yatendur Graharaksharatara Nikarai Paritaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukadeva Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods, just as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies. His presence was gorgeous, and he was respected by all. Purport. In the great assembly of saintly personalities, there was Vyasadeva, the Brahmarshi, Narada, the Devarshi, Parashurama, the great ruler of the Kshatriya kings, etc. Some of them were powerful incarnations of the Lord. Shukadeva Goswami was not known as Brahmarshi, Rajarshi, or Devarshi, nor was he an incarnation like Narada, Vyasa, or Parashurama, and yet he excelled them in respects paid. This means that the devotee of the Lord is more honored in the world than the Lord himself. One should therefore never minimize the importance of a devotee like Shukadeva Goswami. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. A very beautiful verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the last chapter of the first canto. The title of the chapter is Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami. Vyasadeva Bhagavatam introduces the prime speaker of the Bhagavatam in a very extraordinarily dramatic way. We know how Parikshit was cursed to die in 7 days. He left his kingdom, gave up his royal robes, put on simple clothes, came to the bank of Ganga and he was preparing to leave his body. The news spread that the king has left his palace and he has gone in simple robes, cast away his royal, majestic robes and powers, and he is preparing to die, and he is going to die in 7 days. So this was, as people say in modern language, breaking news. Big news. Emperor who has left his kingdom, palace, home, family, and preparing to die. So naturally, many great personalities also came there. And Bhagavatam is saying, even Brahma Rishi, a great saintly person among the Brahmanas like Vyasadeva, came there. Deva Rishi like Narada Rishi, the saint among the Devatas, he arrived there. Many incarnations of God, many saintly kings like Parashurama and many other. There is a long list in different Puranas of great number of saints, all of them assembled there. Parikshit humbly bowed to all of them and said, I'm very fortunate that all of you have arrived here. Please tell me, what is the duty of a man about to die? This inquiry of Parikshit is considered to be a very, very grave question. It's a grave question because this question is relevant to each one of us. And this is the question which we avoid all our life. Parikshit was about to die in 7 days. And he had 7 days time to prepare. We don't even know how many days time we have. But we are blissfully unaware and oblivious of these facts. Just like recently we all saw that picture of beautiful young children with father and mother seated comfortably in an airline about to fly to London, hoping their dream life will be fulfilled. And we know how, as the aircraft took off, didn't even last for a few minutes. Life is so precarious. This is reality. This is not a fairy tale. This is not some imagination. But somehow we are confident about our lives, about our dreams, about our aspirations and ambitions, about our abilities to achieve all of that, and we go about our lives. So Shukadev Goswami asked this very powerful, important question. And all the sages who had assembled there, they began to respond. And when there are many sages, when many rishis are there, too many philosophers, too many different viewpoints, and there was no conclusive understanding. There were different opinions. And there was discussion among themselves. What should be done? What should Parikshit Maharaj do? He should follow yoga, Ashtanga yoga. No, he should follow Jnana yoga. He should acquire knowledge. No, he should do karma. And different kinds of viewpoints like this. When this kind of a discussion was going on and different ideas were emerging, and at that time, all of a sudden, there was one person, young person relatively, tall, broad chest, resplendent, gorgeous, as Prabhupada has used, because Vyarochata, rochata means effulgent. Vyarochata, extremely effulgent with his spiritual tejas, with long matted hair, practically no clothes, very, very simply attired. He, with long arms, tall, he walked into the assembly. And that who walked into the assembly was Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasa, who taught him spiritual knowledge and became very adept and well-versed. And that Shukadeva walked into that assembly. When he walked into his assembly, his spiritual presence was so striking. And everyone made way. In fact, Shukadeva Goswami, when he was walking in the villages, people couldn't understand who he was. He looked like some kind of a madman. He was actually mad, intoxicated with Krishna Prema, very exalted. So he was walking. He didn't care for anybody. There would be some small urchins, village children, trying to make fun of him. He would be unmindful of all that. He was just walking, and he appeared here. And as soon as he came here into this assembly of Maharaj Parikshit and all Devarshi, Rajarshi, Brahmarshi, all these different exalted rishis exalted personalities were here. And when they all rose up and made way for him, those simple boys and others who are making fun of him, they all retracted. Oh, who's this? And then he walks in. And here, the metaphor used in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Yatha induhu griha rakshatara nikaraihi paritaha. Just like sometimes there is a beautiful full moon in the sky, surrounded by many stars, there are some planets, there are some heavenly bodies, but among all of them, Indu, the moon, is Vyarochata, resplendent, gorgeous, shining. So, Shukadeva Goswami appeared in the scene, and this is how Bhagavatam is describing. Very dramatic entrance. You must read a few more verses around this. It's very, very picturesque, very interesting description. And Bhagavatam concludes, the first canto concludes with just the appearance of Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit submitting once again his questions to Shukadeva Goswami, gives him an elevated seat, bows to him, and begins to ask questions. And now Shukadeva Goswami is going to answer, and Shukadeva Goswami's answer constitutes the rest of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This whole scenario of how the way it is constructed, Shukadeva Goswami coming And in the midst of all this great assembly of, he's described as Mahan Mahiyasam. He was the greatest personality among the greatest personalities. He was great among the greatest personalities. Appeared. And it was a gorgeous presence. Because Shukadeva Goswami was going to deliver a very, very special message from Vedic literatures. Vedic literatures are very vast. There are different kinds of philosophies, philosophical conclusions, different kinds of recommendations of activities. It's very vast. And we should also recollect, we should also be conscious, when is this happening? When is this Parikshit Maharaj leaving his kingdom, going on to the bank of the Ganges, preparing to die in 7 days? When all of this is happening? It's happening just after Krishna has left this world and gone back to the spiritual world. It's not a small occurrence. It's not a normal day, normal times. Lord Himself was present and He manifested His pastimes and He has left. And after He left, the Pandavas also wound up their lives and they left. And that's how Parikshit became the king, grandson of the Pandavas. And now this came upon to Parikshit Maharaj, and he handed over the kingdom to his son, Janamejaya. And he left the kingdom and he's preparing. So it's just at that time, when Krishna left, Dwapar Yuga ended and Kali Yuga began. And now it is going to be Kali Yuga for the next 432,000 years. Really long, long time. So, in Kali Yuga, Kalau Sattva Haram Pumsam, the defining characteristic of Kali Yuga is it is depleted of Sattva Guna. Rajoguna and Tamoguna are prominent, influencing everyone's heart with lust and greed. So, people are going to become involved in materialistic activities and ignorant of spiritual reality, and they will build a complex civilization to amplify their sense gratification with pride and arrogance. And such people, how will they understand this vast Vedic knowledge? What is the hope for them? So it was Lord's divine plan that the essence of all of these Vedic literatures should be presented in human society in Kali Yuga for the benefit of all of us. So Shukadeva Goswami, who had completely understood all of the Vedic knowledge and understood the essence of it personally and realized it by the blessings of his father Vyasadeva, and he appeared and he was going to deliver the essence of all Vedic knowledge to Parikshit Maharaj. And hence, Srimad Bhagavatam is carrying that essence of all Vedic knowledge. And the person who is going to deliver that knowledge is that exalted person, Shukadeva Goswami. And hence, he has appeared. So this is very significant because Srila Prabhupada carried that exalted essence of all of the Vedic literatures, which is locked up in complex Sanskrit language, even for Indians like us, because we are lost touch with our own ancient Sanskrit language. Look, today, all of us are Indians here, sitting in an Indian city, and we are speaking in a foreign language, English. This is reality, isn't it? So, Srila Prabhupada was the great Acharya, representative of Shukadev Goswami, who had also personally fully assimilated and absorbed this knowledge and was chosen by the Lord to present this knowledge on a global scale, in a global language, so that genuine seekers all over the world will get the opportunity to understand this. Now, before I go further into the story of Srila Prabhupada, how Srila Prabhupada created an institution is a very modern construct. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he appeared 500 years ago, he went to travel from village to village all over South India, talking to people whom he met, singing, chanting, and meeting scholars and debating with them, telling them the conclusion of the Vedic literatures as given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's how, and there were a few who followed him, there were a few who heard him carefully, they made notes, and some of them, his own close disciples like the 6 Goswamis, wrote elaborate books on the teachings, on the way Srila Prabhupada, on the way Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented the entire Vedic wisdom. And those books were all in different, in Vrindavan, in different places. But there was no institution. They were personally preaching, traveling, influencing people. They built temples. Temples were in one sense a kind of an institution. But still, not really a formal institution, which is very much prevalent in Kali Yuga societies. And Srila Prabhupada was encasing that divine mission of Krishna, the divine mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, into an institutional construct. A very extraordinary achievement. And an institution on a global scale. Recently, you must have all heard about this book written by Professor Hindol Sengupta. For the first time, analyzing Srila Prabhupada's leadership qualities in building an institution of modern day with a global footprint, and how Srila Prabhupada embodied and exhibited those wonderful leadership qualities which are essential for institution building in modern day. So before I get into that a little bit more, I want to once again talk about, to appreciate and understand what was the message that Srila Prabhupada was carrying, the Gita, the Bhagavatam message. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna had appeared 5,000 years ago, and he did his pastimes in Vrindavan for about 15 years, then went to Mathura, then went to Dwaraka, and Pandavas were in Hastinapur. They were deprived of the kingdom. They suffered in Vanavasa, and then they came back, and they were supposed to get a rightful share of the kingdom, but their cousin Duryodhana denied. And so Krishna came from Dwaraka to Hastinapur to meet Duryodhana and to give sense, talk sense to him, and tell him that he must share a rightful share of his kingdom with his cousins. Duryodhana was unrelenting. And at that time, the battle of Kurukshetra was going to happen. Pandavas rallied their cause, and there were many kings who supported and empathized with them. And they said, we will come, we will bring our armies to support you, the Pandavas. And they all assembled on the battle of Kurukshetra. Duryodhana also rallied his cause. How he should be the sole inheritor of the kingdom, and Pandavas should get nothing. And there were kings who supported his cause, and they said, we will come, bring our kingdom, we will come there. And they brought their kingdoms, they brought their armies, and they were there. And this is the Kurukshetra battlefield. And Krishna, also being a cousin of both Pandavas and the Kauravas, he said, I will not participate in the battle because it's after all among us, among our cousins, but I'll make my army available. Duryodhana chose Krishna's army, which the army came from Dwaraka, on the side of the Kauravas. And Krishna said, I will not personally participate. And Pandavas chose Krishna to be with them. And among the Pandavas, Arjuna was the celebrated archer. And Krishna said, I'll become, and they were close friends. And he said, I will become your charioteer, Sarathi. And then Arjuna sitting on the chariot with Krishna as the charioteer. He says, take the chariot in between the two armies. I want to survey and see who have all assembled to fight us. And Krishna takes the chariot in between the two armies, and Arjuna sees who have assembled on the side of the Kauravas, and he spots Bhishma, his grandfather. Then he spots Drona, his teacher. Then he spots all his cousins and their relatives and few others in different way connected to their family. And then he turns to Krishna and says, I have to kill them? Actually, we must understand the position of Arjuna, the situation he was in. Not just quarrel with them and come back. No, fight with them and kill them. His grandfather, his teacher. See the situation he was in? And so he puts aside his bow and arrows and says, Krishna, I cannot fight this. And now Krishna is going to speak for the next 1 hour or so and changes the heart of Arjuna. And in the course of doing that, lot of discussion happens in the 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18 chapters. And in the course of that discussion, Arjuna asks, Krishna, you are saying this is what you are. Because all along, Krishna and Arjuna were friends. They were contemporaries, about the same age. Although all the Pandavas were cousins. Arjuna and Krishna were friendly. They had a friendly relation. And so as friends, they would sit together, they would eat together, they would joke together. All such experiences were there. And so when Krishna mentioned about his true position as the cause of the whole universe, the creator of the universe, Arjuna asked, Krishna, if you are what you are saying, can you show, can you display your opulences for me? The opulences that are there in the universe, can you display that to me? And Krishna said, my opulences are so vast, so exalted, so powerful, and it is spread all over the universe. And you want to see that? And Krishna said, I will bless you with a special eye that you can see all of my opulences which are spread all over the universe to be brought before you into a reasonable dimension, and that you as a human being can see. And that was the Virat Rupa of the Lord. All the innumerable potencies of the Lord which is distributed all over the universe, brought together in one place at one time. And that's why Arjuna sees that with a special divine eye, and Arjuna and the Bhagavad Gita describes what was it like when Krishna showed his universal form. It was like Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavet Yugapat Uttita. Just like one sun rises and how it dispels all the darkness of the universe. Imagine 1,000 sun rising simultaneously in the sky. One sun, you can't even see, isn't it? It's so blazing, dazzling. Except during early morning sunrise we can see. But after 10 o'clock now you can't even see. Imagine 1,000 suns rising simultaneously. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavet Yugapat Uttita. When Arjuna saw all of that, there is at one point Arjuna says this. Krishna is his dear friend and cousin. And now he was giving him orders. Take the chariot here, take the chariot there. And Krishna was taking orders from Arjuna and following that. And now after seeing this Ugra Rupa, fierce form, which was a display of Krishna's infinite energies manifest in the material world. This is Arjuna's statement, very beautiful statement. One of the many statements. Akyahi me ko bhavan ugra rupo namostu te deva vara prasida vignatum ichchami bhavanta madhyam nahi prajanami tava pravrittim. It's a very interesting verse. Arjuna is asking, after seeing all of that, Kaha Bhavan? Who are you, Krishna? I've been thinking you are my dear friend, my cousin, my charioteer who can take orders. But now you have displayed your Ugra Rupa, fierce form. Akyahi me ko bhavan ugra rupo. Akyahi me, please tell me, kaha bhavan? Who are you? Namostute devavara prasida. I offer my respects to you. Usually friends don't offer respects to each other, right? We're friendly, we sometimes insult, make fun of. Now Krishna is saying, no more such friendly talks. Namostute devavara prasida. Please be gracious to me. Because he saw his Ugra Rupa. Vignatumicchami bhavantam adyam. Oh, that primeval Lord, Adyam. Vignatumicchami, I wish to understand. Nahi prajanami, I'm not able to understand who you are. Bhavan tava pravrittim. Who are you? What is your purpose? What is your mission? You have displayed this cosmic form, but I know you as my friend and cousin. But now I understand who you are. Who are you? Please tell me. And for this, Krishna's reply, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Kalosmi lokakshayakrit pravruddho lokan samahartum iha pravruttaha ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve ye avastithaha pratyanikeshu yodhaha. The Lord is saying some very significant things. Kalosmi lokakshayakrit pravruddho. Aham kalaha asmi. Pravruddha kalaha asmi. Pravruddha lokakshayakrit kalaha asmi. I am that mighty time which destroys the universe. Lokakshayakrit kalaha asmi. Krishna has multiple features. One of his features is the all-devouring Kala feature. Krishna is not only about all the beautiful, wonderful things, creations that happen. Krishna is also about the destruction that happens. Everything in this material world is a manifestation of Krishna. Once Srila Prabhupada was conversing with young devotees, Westerners who would come to him, and Prabhupada would tirelessly speak to them for long hours. Some of them would come with challenging questions. Once a person asked a very challenging question. Swamiji, they used to call him Swamiji at that time, very early days. You're talking about all these things. What if a bomb falls here on you? What will you do? Prabhupada said, I will consider that bomb is Krishna and I'll accept. Because bombs which destroy things in this world is also a manifestation of Krishna. One day we are all going to die. We should not fear Krishna coming as death. Because Kalosmi lokakshayakrit pravruddho. We should be prepared, we should surrender and accept Krishna and offer ourselves to Him. That's the message. So after saying this, Kalosmi lokakshayakrit pravruddha lokan samahartum iha pravruttaha lokam samahartum. I am going to destroy all of the worlds. Ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve, except for you and the Pandavas. Everyone else I am going to destroy. And in the next verse, Krishna makes this extraordinary statement. Tasmat tvam uttishta yashola bhasva. Jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samruddham. Mayaivaita nihitaha purvameva nimitta matram bhavasavya Tasmatva muttishto yashola bhasva. Therefore, Arjuna, I have already decided that this battle has to happen. Everyone will be killed except you and the Pandavas. That's my decision. That's my plan. And it is going to happen. Hence, arise, fight this battle, and become the recipient of Yasho Samruddham, Yashola Bhasva. Tasmatva muttishta Yashola Bhasva, Jitva Shatrun Bhungshva Rajya Samruddham. And hence, conquer your enemies and become the ruler of this kingdom. Maya evaita nihitaha purvameva. Maya eva ete nihitaha purvameva. Already I have decided to destroy everyone. Purvameva nihitaha nimitta matram bhavasavyasachi. You simply become a nimitta, an agent, an instrument to carry out my will. Krishna has a will, Krishna has a mission, Krishna has a purpose, and Krishna is urging Arjuna, you simply become my instrument. I've already decided the outcome of this battle. And hence, this chapter, 11th chapter of the Gita, ends with the 55th verse, one of the long chapters. And 55th verse is the concluding verse of this chapter. And Prabhupada calls this the essence of the Gita. It's so important. We should know this. Prabhupada, another occasion, he said, simply by studying this one verse, the last verse of the 11th chapter, one will understand the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. What is that 11th verse? After showing the Ugra Rupa, Virata Rupa of the Lord, and when Arjuna asked, who are you? What's your mission? And Krishna saying that I am Kala, the all-devouring Kala, and I've already decided the outcome of this battle. Just become my nimitta. Except for you, everyone is going to be destroyed. On this occasion, Krishna makes a very, very important statement in the last verse. Mat karma krin, mat paramo, mat bhaktaha, sangavarjitaha, nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu, yas samameti pandava. You see the purport? How Prabhupada begins the purport? Anyone who wants to approach the supreme of all the personalities of Godhead on the Krishna Loka planet in the spiritual sky and be intimately connected with the Supreme Personality Krishna, intimately connected, must take this formula as stated by the Supreme Himself. Therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So what does Krishna say here? Mat karma krin, mat karma krit, becomes krin, mat paramo, mat karma krit. This means Krishna is saying, do my work. I have a work in this universe. I have a mission. I have a purpose in this universe. Do my work. Mat karma krin, mat paramo. Regard me as the supreme. I have shown you the whole universal form here. You know my potencies. You know my power. You know my position. Regard me as the supreme in your life. In your life so far, this is actually, Krishna is not only speaking to Arjuna, he's speaking to every one of us, he's speaking to all of humanity. Krishna is the supreme, he is the maintainer, he is the provider, he is sustaining us. He has a mission, he has a purpose in this world. And we are his amshas, we are his children, we are his servants, but we are oblivious of his purpose and we are busy with our own purpose and ambitions and aspirations and goals in our life. Krishna is just one of the things that happens in my life. My life, my purpose, I've got great goals, I have to accomplish all these things. And I have my abilities, using all my abilities, managing all the people around me. I'm going to accomplish that. By the way, I'm also a little religious. I pay my respects to Krishna. But Krishna is not everything in my life. I have my own goals. That's everything in my life. Krishna is, by the way, one more. I would just look upon for his maybe an occasional blessing so that I succeed with my plans. Ultimately, it's my plans. This is our life, isn't it? This is the life of a conditioned soul. Krishna is saying, Mat karma krin, mat paramo. Regard me as the supreme. Mat bhaktaha, become my devotee. Sangavarjitaha, become free from all these material attachments. Nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu, don't have any nirvairaha, ill feelings about anyone, because everyone is my child. They're all my children. If you do this, what happens? Yassa mam eti pandava. Mam eti. Eti means to achieve me, attain me, come to me. Mam eti. If you do this, you will attain me. That's why Prabhupada is telling in the purport that if you want to be intimately related with Krishna, this is the formula we have to follow. So, Arjuna, you can see how fortunate he was. Krishna was right there in his presence, and Krishna was telling, this is my work, do my work. And Arjuna, when he heard all this, he was becoming more and more determined that I must do Krishna's work. He is the Lord, and I should take his work, him as everything in my life. What else is there? He was becoming more and more determined, and then he fought the battle. Now, all of us who hear this may get inspired in one way, but one question looms in our mind. A careful, thoughtful, sensitive reader. How fortunate Arjuna was. Krishna was right in front of him, and Krishna had a mission. Krishna had a purpose. Krishna had arranged this battlefield, and Krishna told Arjuna, this is my work, do my work. And Arjuna said, yes, I will fight. But what about us? We are here in Kali Yuga. We are not in a battlefield which Krishna has arranged and urging us to fight that. Of course, we wouldn't have the ability to fight, probably, mostly. Arjuna was a great fighter too. But we are not exactly in that kind of a situation. We are not exactly blessed in the same way as Arjuna was blessed. One may think, isn't it? Krishna had a work at that time, 5,000 years ago, and he told Arjuna, this is my work, fight. I've already decided the outcome. You fight, Nimitta matram bhava savyasachi. Just become my instrument. Yashola bhasva. And you will get all this great fame and yashas. What about our situation? This is a great revelation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and a great revelation of Srila Prabhupada pointing that out. Now, Prabhupada says, turn to the 18th chapter, towards the end. After Krishna has said two important verses, I won't go into that, I'll just mention two important verses in the 18th chapter, where Krishna says, this is the most confidential and the supreme instruction I'm giving you. I've given so many instructions, Arjuna, but this is my supreme instruction. And then the second of the two verses is Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam praja. Just surrender to me completely, keeping away everything else, and I will protect you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. And Krishna has prefaced these two verses by saying, this is the most confidential knowledge. This is my supreme instruction. Idam paramam vachaha. Paramam vachaha. And then Krishna says, after saying that, Ye idam paramam guhyam madbhaktesh abhidhasyati bhaktim mayi param kritva mam eva yeshyati asamshayaha. Krishna is saying, I still have one mission that is in this, to be accomplished in this world. And we can all participate in that. And exactly as Krishna told Arjuna, you do this, serve, do my work, and I'll take you back. Mameva eshyati, I will take you back. Mameti Pandava. In the same way, in this verse also Krishna is saying, you do this, Mameva eshyati asamshayaha, I will certainly take you back. Asamshayaha mam eshyati. What if you do what? Yeidam paramam guhyam madbhakteshva bhidhasyati. This knowledge I have given in the Bhagavad Gita, if you share this with others, you distribute this knowledge to others, and if you do that, I will take you back. Bhaktim mayi param krutva. That's great devotional service done to me, and I'll take you back to Godhead. So, it is not that only 5,000 years back Krishna had a mission in the context of the Pandavas and the battle of Kurukshetra. Even today, Krishna has a mission. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to point out all these things, otherwise people would have missed this. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Yare deko tare kaho Krishna upadesh. This is Krishna's mission even today. And Srila Prabhupada was taking this mission, and he had tried for many years, and now he was 71 years of age, and he wanted this mission to continue. As long as the Lord wants, as long as the Lord has a plan, and according to certain Puranas, there will be a golden age of 10,000 years in Kali Yuga, when this mission of Krishna, of spreading his message and convincing souls to become devotees is going to happen. And after that, the full force of Kali Yuga will unfold till the end of Kali Yuga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was beginning that, and Srila Prabhupada was giving a big push to that golden period in Kali Yuga. So I have less time, but I'll quickly summarize some things that were very significant, which led to the formation of ISKCON, incorporation of ISKCON which happened today in 1966. You're all familiar. Srila Prabhupada went with 40 rupees, no supporters. He was 70 years of age. He boarded the ship. He couldn't afford a flight ticket. So he got a free ticket in a cargo ship, and he was going in that cargo ship, and it was going to be a 38-day journey in a cargo ship. And Prabhupada set out from Calcutta, carrying with him this very Srimad Bhagavatam which we are reading, which he had translated. Very carefully, he had translated this and got published with great difficulty in 3 volumes. Now it's put in 1 volume. Prabhupada was carrying trunks of them. And on board the Jaladuta, he has a heart attack. No doctors, no medicines. A night later, he has a second heart attack. Surviving all of that, he goes to America, 1965. And the first year was a lot of difficulties he went through. I'll just come to the last few weeks before July 13th, what happened. Prabhupada was in a place in Manhattan. Manhattan is a peninsula. It's a long peninsula, north to south. He was in Lower Manhattan. It's called Lower Manhattan, Middle Manhattan, Upper Manhattan. He was in the Lower Manhattan portion. And there, in Lower Manhattan, there were young people, Americans, boys and girls, disillusioned by materialism, and they were looking for alternate lives. And it was in American social history, it is called the period of counterculture. These young people, they dropped out of universities. They were countering the American culture, which was make money, have a family, enjoy, have cars, have houses. Because these young people saw their own parents. They were very successful. They had money. They had houses. They had big industrial enterprises were there. But husband and wife, their father and mother, they would quarrel. They would separate and go find another partner. And stay with them for some time. Again fight. And again separate and go find another partner. And they saw the families were broken. They were not really happy. Despite all the big buildings and the nice highways and the roads and the motor cars and all the wealth, in their lives, they were actually unhappy. They saw this, young people. They said, we are going to follow the same thing. We're also going to become unhappy in the same way. They were questioning. This was called the counterculture movement in America. So these large number of these young people were gathering in some parts of America, and the similar phenomena was happening in Europe and in other places, even in Australia. All the Western developed countries, these things were happening. And so Prabhupada, who had no other means, he was talking in different occasions, and so some of these American young boys and girls would come to him, and one boy by name David Allen would come to Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada he didn't have a place to stay. He couldn't afford. So David Allen said, Swamiji, probably they wouldn't even call him Swamiji, they were calling him Swami. Even G was added a little later. Swami, if you want, you can come and stay in my loft. And Prabhupada was happy to accept that. And loft was like a studio. There's a toilet and just one room, one big hall. Prabhupada agreed to stay with David Allen in that loft. And Prabhupada would conduct classes there at different times. There would be young people, about 10, 15, 20, 30 people coming there. And Prabhupada would give classes, he would do kirtans, and he would cook and give some prasadam. Not much. Prabhupada could not afford. David also was another young person, didn't have much money. He was also smoking, he was taking drugs. And Prabhupada was trying to tell him, no, you should give up these things. And trying to convince him to give up and become a devotee. And Prabhupada had a plan. He was telling him, David, one day I'll take you to India. I'll take you to Vrindavan. You will see how many wonderful, nice temples are there. And David was little interested. Oh, is that so, Swami? Yes, I would like to become a devotee. And then at some point Prabhupada said, David, this loft you have, we should convert this into a Radha Krishna temple. Oh, is that so, Swami? What is that? No, you will see, I will get deities of Radha and Krishna from Jaipur in India, and we will have a temple here, and a lot of people can come. Oh, David is thinking like that. Prabhupada would stay in one corner. He would have his trunk, metal trunk, and that was his table, and he had a typewriter, he would be typing. He would stay in the corner. Practically the rest of the place is what David used to use. And still David had not given up drinking, he had not given up taking drugs. And Prabhupada was slowly encouraging him. Just see the situation. Srila Prabhupada, so learned, so respected in Vrindavan, sannyasi, even among his god brothers, they would respect him so much. He could give eloquent classes on the Bhagavatam. He was so highly respected among all the sadhus. Prabhupada has gone to America, no place, staying with an American drug addict. So one day Srila Prabhupada was in his corner, silently doing something, typing, reading, or whatever he was doing. David had taken a high dose of drugs. And he suddenly got up and he was moaning loudly. And that moaning grew louder and louder. Prabhupada got up, saw him, and some kind of a strange behavior. And he started screaming and howling. And he started walking around the room, round and round and round, yelling, shouting. Prabhupada knew something has gone wrong with him. And all of a sudden, in that crazy moment, with all that energy of a young American, came before Prabhupada in a fierce manner. Prabhupada slowly got up. Don't know what he was going to do. Hit him. Prabhupada slowly walked towards the door, opened the door, closed the door, and came down the steps. And he was in the street. And now he didn't know what to do. Prabhupada had plans to take David to Vrindavan, convert his loft into a Radha Krishna temple. He was a crazy man, cannot be trusted. What he will do? Actually, later on, who analyzed this and met David Allen, they diagnosed that it was a drug-induced madness, some kind of a psychosis that he was going through. So Srila Prabhupada came out. Everything else was up there in the loft. Prabhupada then saw what to do. He remembered there was one more person, young person who was coming there to his meetings. Prabhupada went to a public phone and called him. His name was Carl, and said that this is what has happened. And Carl was also a sympathetic, and he said, Swami, please be there. I will come and pick you up. Carl came, met Prabhupada, and said, Swami, please come to my loft. And he took him to his loft. And Carl's loft was smaller, and Carl was living with his wife Eva. So unlike Alan's loft, he was just one man all alone. Here was also another loft, but had a bedroom and a kitchen and a living space. Carl invited Swami Prabhupada to come there. Prabhupada accepted. Carl gave him one corner, a desk for him to sit, and Eva was watching. Eva was also going once in a way to see the Swami's programs sometimes, but she was not so much interested in spirituality. Husband was interested. And now all of a sudden, in their small home, not very big, the loft was smaller than David's loft, and now there is a Swami in the house. You can imagine a young family, and you have suddenly one uninvited guest. And Swami has to have his classes, and there are many people who come to hear him. And Eva was also into drinking, smoking, and drugs. And she had many cats and dogs in the house, and all of them have to share with Swami. Although she was a little respectful in the beginning, after a few days or a few weeks, she started showing signs of her resentment about Swami's presence. She saw how Swami was influencing Carl. Don't do this, don't do that. And Carl was following that. So she saw Swami was influencing her husband to give up things and adopt things the way he wants, what is convenient for him. She thought, this is not okay. My husband is getting too much into all of this. She started showing resentment. Once Swamiji, she's a young, must be like his daughter's age or granddaughter's age. Once Swami asked, Eva, can you please get that? Something he wanted. Go get that yourself, was her reply. Can you imagine what Prabhupada was going through? A pure devotee, respected Vaishnava from Vrindavan, at the mercy of these people. So one day, Prabhupada spoke to Carl that Prabhupada was sensitive. Obviously, he could feel that ill feeling that Eva was exuding in her behavior, in her looks. Prabhupada said we should find another place. And then a few of the followers who were young, you can't even say they were followers, they were just sympathizers. They would say, Swami, oh, old man, he's telling something, let's go and hear him. They would come to him. And so they all got together and they found a place which became the first temple, 26 2nd Avenue. Prabhupada had no money to pay the rent. The rent was going to be, he took that store, it was a store, and behind that store there was one, on the first floor, there was one bedroom apartment. Prabhupada took that also. Together it was about $190. So those young few of them, they pitched in the money and paid the advance, and they were going to sign the agreement, and Prabhupada would move in. Next month, where will the rent come? Prabhupada had no idea. And there is a description that how, after this happened, Prabhupada moved from Carl's house, loft, to this place. And all those 5, 6, maybe 10 of them, they carried different things that Swami used, possessions, a trunk, a typewriter, manuscripts. They were all carrying that and bringing it from Carl's loft, which was not very far, maybe a few, maybe from here to the entrance of the temple, or a little longer, farther. And Srila Prabhupada was also carrying 2 suitcases, All of them were carrying it. See the situation Prabhupada was in. And Prabhupada comes to 26 2nd Avenue. He starts conducting classes there. They're all gathering there. It was already around that time, Prabhupada revealed that he wants to incorporate an organization, a non-profit a religious organization. And he tells those young followers, we will call this ISKCON. And they ask, what, Swami? And Prabhupada spelt it for them, ISKCON. And what does it mean? And Prabhupada said, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. They were all wondering, what is international about this? We hardly have one store, and we don't know who is going to pay the rent next month. Swami has no money at all. What is he talking about? An international society. And Prabhupada kept saying, no, everything will happen. Krishna will show. And then one day, Prabhupada gave his class. He would give class. Every morning at 7 a.m. he would give class. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he would give 7 p.m. a class. This was his routine. And few people would come. And then on one day, he had made an arrangement with one lawyer. He brought all the papers for the incorporation of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And Prabhupada was giving class, and that lawyer walked in, and he sat at the rear end, and Prabhupada was conscious. And then he concluded his class, and he said, here we have Mr. Goldsmith, please come forward. And he wants to make one announcement, and some of you, please hear. And so the lawyer walked up to the front, and he said, I'm so-and-so. Swami wants to form an organization, and I have written according to what he wanted, I have written the objectives of this organization, and I want few volunteers to sign up as trustees. And I want your name, signature, and your address. And so Swami looked around and he said, Carl, you can give your name. Mike, you can give your name. Like that, he pointed out a few, and he said, please give your names. And they didn't know what to do. Okay, anyway, something Swami wants. And then this lawyer came, and he took their signatures. And then the lawyer announced, for the first year, 3 of you will be trustees. In the second year, so-and-so will be trustees. Third year, so-and-so will be trustees. And they didn't know what they were signing up. They just signed. Because Swami said sign, and they signed. This is how the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, an institution that Srila Prabhupada was building, was creating, to establish the mission of Krishna, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to take this glorious essence of all Vedic literatures for people all over the world to practice. And because of those humble attempts that Srila Prabhupada began with, today we are all sitting here in a gorgeous temple telling Srila Prabhupada did this. How grateful we should all be. What an extraordinary sacrifice Prabhupada has done. What extraordinary endeavours, what extraordinary suffering he took upon himself to establish this movement and to make this mission of the Lord go around the world. We will stop here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Radha Krishna Chandra ki, Shri Krishna Balarama ki, Shri Nitai Gauranga ki, Shri Srinivasa Govinda ki, Shri Prahlada Narsimha Dev ki, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Go Premanande Hari Hari.